just kidding. Come on. Come on. You guys know I was just kidding, right?
Speed. Marker. And action.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Paint Bravely, the podcast where you can find a little bit of encouragement, discover new ways to make your hobby more fun, and most importantly, learn to paint bravely. Now, once again, we had a discussion about how to start this podcast, and so we've decided I'm not going to promise anything up front, say anything. We're just going to get right to it. So, Brent, what have you been up to since the last time we talked?
Well, Casey, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to start off with a hot tip of the day. All right. What I have here is some Liquitex Varnish. Now, I've been going through my hobby career varnishing in a couple of ways. One, you got your rattle can. Two, you've got your airbrush. And I do prefer the airbrush. And so what I've got is those little Vallejo, normal-sized Vallejo paint bottles. Drop in the airbrush.
Tiny.
Yeah, teeny tiny little bottles. And you got to put in the airbrush thinner, you got to put in the airbrush flow improver, mix it all around. Hope you don't jam up your airbrush first. Or if you're professional, you could mix them separately and then put them in the airbrush, whatever.
Right.
But
yeah.
it turns out that these big bottles of Liquitex gloss varnish and matte varnish, they're pretty sloshy right out of the bottle. A nice slosh to them there. And so actually, I didn't need to thin these at all. So it's a big bottle. Drop right into the airbrush cup, no thinning. I was using them for a good 5-10 minutes without anything jamming up. So that's my hot tip of the day. If you're looking for
the giant bottles.
Yeah, if you're looking for a go-to airbrush varnish. Now, I haven't tried brushing this on yet. I've only tried airbrushing so far. And actually, I had the gloss bottle in my pile of stuff for like the last 2 years. I just hadn't gotten around to using it. But I was finally like, man, I need some gloss varnish. I just used my last bottle up. Do I have anything around here? Well, I've got this. I guess give this a try. Oh, wait, this is awesome. This is awesome. I should have been using this. Whatever. Live and learn. Hot tip of the day. Big bottles of Liquitex Varnish. Goes great through an airbrush. Boom. Boom. And we're off.
I like it. We're off, yeah. I think I have the matte varnish. The big bottle of Liquitex. I'm pretty sure I have that somewhere. It's good. I mean, it's like what, $14 for the bottle, but you're never gonna run out ever. Like those Vallejo bottles are like $5.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Michael's, that's cool.
At Michael's, this was $15. Buy one, get one half off. Which means if you find the right online distributor, it's much, much less than $15. But
that's true. Yeah. That's hard enough to do. Well, since you jumped right in with new products, I finally got around trying that Dirty Down Rust.
Ooh.
That everybody's been talking about. It's been all over the place. You know, a bunch of videos been popping up about it. I finally got to try it. I spent way too much money on buying this tiny bottle of, paint. And they are tiny bottles. They're like GW size bottles for these things. And they're $20 for a bottle.
Right.
Like, it's probably the most expensive paint I've ever bought.
It is.
That being said, like, it works really, really well. Okay. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why it works the way it works, but like, I need it in my life from now on.
Okay.
It's permanent.
So, I have some of that stuff too. A company called Goblin Hut, I think, sent me a sample. They actually sent me a sample of all three, and I tried them out on my Dark Eldar, and I thought they were like, okay, this is kind of cool. But then I saw the price tag, and I said, nope, I'm not. I don't want to learn to depend on this, and $20 for this tiny bottle. Like, in good faith, I can't tell anyone else to go buy it either.
I know how you feel.
Yeah.
Because that is so expensive.
So the difference here is you bought your bottle and you're coming down on the side of like, yeah, I guess it's worth it. I like it, right?
Pretty much. Like, well, the way I'm looking at it is that I just painted up a bunch of those brutes, right? For the Iron Jaws army I've been working on. And all of their armor I base coated with silver. And I wanted them to be rusty. So I went in and, I got like 3 different rust paints, which on their own are like $4.50 a piece, right? Like MIG paints are like $3.75, $4, something like that. So we're more than halfway to this already. So I used that and I spent a good 20 minutes per model, probably longer in some cases depending on what was going on, painting in this rust. And like it looks pretty good. It's not the best, but it's fine. It's passable. It looks like rust.
Mm-hmm.
For this, for better results, this $20 bottle that I got, it would have taken me 20 minutes to do all of them.
Okay.
And it would have looked better.
Fair enough. Well, there you go.
That's why I'm impressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is useful feedback then. Since I got them free, I'm like extra hesitant to go tell somebody else to spend an actual $20 bill on a tiny bottle of paint. So yeah, I will take your endorsement there, and I will give them another shot. I'll play around with them because I've been seeing the videos pop up too. This dirty down stuff. Yeah, I don't know, some people are pretty excited about it, so I'll give them another shot. We'll see if I can come around. I think
it's worth trying.
Yeah, for sure. The price tag, I don't know. It's gonna make me grumpy, Brent. That's gonna be a
yeah.
Gonna base my kobolds with some dirty down moss. I tell you what, thank you.
Mossy kobolds.
But okay,
yeah.
Cool. That's good to hear that feedback.
Yeah, so I was pretty excited about that. Yeah. You got any other products you've been trying out?
Products?
Besides Varnish?
Oh,
I don't know.
Thank you, Casey. You brought me to my next shilling item here.
Right.
So before I forget, not sponsored or anything, but Dave Taylor did send me a copy of last year's Kickstarter that he did, the Art of books. So this is Dave Taylor Miniatures is a publishing company run by Dave Taylor, and he's a guy who's been in the industry for 30 years or so, knows a lot of people, has done a lot of marketing before, and now he's been doing publishing. So this was the company that did Mel, the Terrain Tutors book a couple of years ago, and then last year they started the Art of art books, essentially. And so this is just really nice, thick, heavy bound art books for miniature painting. And so it's a set of 3 books. Each book is a different author or set of authors who are miniature painters. So like last year's were Miniature Monthly had a book, Christoph Kyle had a book, Kyle, and then it'd be worse, but Anna Polanskak had a book. And at least some of those are names that I've heard before, and all of them are very, very good miniature painters. And I've been taking a flip through, and these are, art books with gorgeous pictures, inspiration, but also the stories of the artists, the outlook, their process, their philosophy, their style, and a little bit of education in there in terms of their process and the way they do things. But yeah, I was actually really impressed when I got it in my hands. And the Kickstarter for the next set of those is coming up the day after this podcast releases. So May 10th, 2022 is the second Kickstarter. And so I think the idea is that Dave Taylor's going to be releasing 3 authors every year. So this year will be books 4, 5, and 6. And they, it's a collectible. It's got numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the spines of these nice thick books. And then the books, they slide into what was once cardboard or paperboard, but like a very thick binding case display. I don't know what you call it.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's like it's a display.
Sure.
Yeah. It's a box with an open end on it.
Well, anyway, I just got these in the mail. I just started reading them. I'm on Aaron Lovejoy's section right now, reading about how he got into minis and how his evolution. And so that's been fun. But yeah, I feel like so many people in the miniature painting hobby know the YouTubers who are not actually great painters and don't necessarily know as well the actual great painters. So it's kind of cool to see a book by these great painters talking about their work, talking about how and why they do what they do, and just a ton of great inspiration in there. And yeah, mini painting has become an art form, at least in some segments of our community.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see it treated as such and have an actual art book. And, the person Dave Taylor should really be sending these to is the Bard, that YouTube channel, the guy who...
Oh, yeah.
With a giant beard, and he reviews reviews art books
Hero
and stuff.
Quest.
The reason Hero Quest is the best is...
Still the best, yeah. Still good.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like I've been wanting to get into collecting miniature art books for a while. So maybe, this sounds like a pretty good opportunity. I've seen these books before. They are very nice.
Yeah.
But it's one of those, like, I don't have enough room to even put the miniatures I have painted on display. Like, I don't even honestly know where I would put books. Like,
yeah.
I'd have to, like, get a bookshelf and do something with that. Like, I have no space. I want it. I want the things, but I don't know what to do.
If you're sitting at home and you have a nice mahogany bookshelf, maybe like a cherry oak or something, and like there's a little bit of room on there, this would look good on there. I'm telling you. If you got a nice bookshelf and you're looking for something to put on there, give it a think. The Art of Dave Taylor Miniatures Kickstarter, coming soon.
A good takeaway from a lot of these art books too is that these are actual miniature painters that do this, like, artistically and very well. Mm-hmm. Like, it is an interesting thing to think about. Like, a lot of people go to YouTube and they're just like, oh, you're a professional painter.
No.
Like, this weird label that gets thrown around, like, way too willingly, right? And it's like, no. Like, we read these books, or we see these books or whatever, and we've been doing this because it's fun, like, but not even close.
Right.
No, there are actual tutorials and lessons and reasoning as to why these things are happening or why you're painting the way you're painting in these books. Yeah.
Yeah. These are the actual artists in our community, the people really turning miniatures into art. And it's cool because you flip through it, there's so much stuff like, wow, I've never seen this before. And then you get to be on, like, oh yeah, I've seen this one on Instagram. This is beautiful. I love this one.
Right, yeah.
And you and I are just here to sell chicken in the bucket merch, and
pretty much.
But there are folks in our community who should be more famous than us, who are getting into art books, and so worth checking out, worth knowing about.
Yes,
and
exactly.
The marketing material says the price per book is between $35 and $50, so that's less than a codex, and better than a codex. So.
It won't be obsolete in 6 months.
Correct, or 2 weeks, depending on the decks. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there are some new books coming out too. It's like, I don't know. I do question that too. Like, do I need to keep buying codexes? Like, are you actually playing games? Are you actually doing these things? Like, because you could just use the old one if you play, like, once a year. Does it actually matter? Oh.
You can just use Battlescribe. So
yeah, even better. Use a free thing. It just tells you all of the profiles for all of your things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. You literally don't even have to buy the book for that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, on the spines of these books, it's 1, 2, 3 on the set that Dave sent me, and then it's going to be 4, 5, 6 on the next set. And man, that's collectible. That's like a DVD kind of collection. You're gonna want to get them all. So I don't know if I should be encouraging people to do this or not, but
we often encourage people to spend money. So why not for something that'll actually make you a better painter,
put this in
right?
context. I was sent the Dirty Down paints for free, and I was sent this set of art books for free. And I am encouraging people to at least consider the art books. And the Dirty Down paints, not sold yet. I'm not sold yet. Like, we'll put it that way. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's fair. I like it. Well, since you've been learning all this new information about how to paint miniatures, have you actually painted any miniatures lately?
What, are you turning back on me again already?
Oh, I don't know. It seemed like a good enough way to go. I don't know.
Well, Casey, I'm going to need you to vamp for a little while because Gordon is purring very loud, and my computer
I can
fan
hear it,
is very loud right now. So this needs to be your time.
Oh, well, in that case,
Casey,
since you've been reading those
lately?
Exactly. Since you've been reading those books, I've gathered this inspiration from you somehow through this conversation. I've been painting some stuff. I've actually been painting some Rivenstone. Broken Anvil Orcs, which is pretty cool. It's a CO cast model, it's not the first one I've painted, but it's like I don't know, it's a bigger version of that. I know that we've talked about that before, and we painted some a couple months ago, and it was a little weird, but I'm really enjoying the Rivenstone model so far. Like, it has good detail, and I don't know, it's kind of like a refreshing change of pace is the way that I put it to them when I was telling them about it. Because I've been painting a lot of orcs, right? And this is also an orc, but it's kind of different. Just feels a little bit different. So I've been painting that. And then I started painting my Relicblade starter box.
Ooh.
Finally. Yeah. So I got all the models prepped. I got sand on their bases. And I'm trying that whole contrast. I'm just going contrast with it.
Okay.
But then like going over the top. So, did the whole dry brush thing and getting that all put together. And I so far I painted a pig, and I painted a shadowy assassin guy. And man, those pigs are pretty sweet.
They are. I haven't painted any pigs yet. I think I have 5 pigs, but I haven't painted any of them. I gotta decide on color, because I've seen them in a lot of different colors. So they're the battle pigs.
Yeah.
I've seen them in the normal pinky pig color with the red pauldrons and everything. But I've also seen it with like purples and greens and a lot of choices.
Yeah. I figure if I'm gonna go down the pig route, then I'll probably paint them all different colors. Cause like, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing about the Relicblade stuff is that the models are not that big. Like they're chunky, so like they're super heroic sized.
Mm-hmm.
So they got big hands, big heads, all that stuff. So it's like it's not difficult to paint per se, but they're smaller, so you can kind of knock one out in like an hour, like to a pretty good standard. At least I feel like, that's like a pretty rewarding thing, because generally, you look at a project and it's going to take forever. So maybe you just don't even do it. But it's really hard sometimes to like want to sit down for 4 or 5 hours and be like, I'll get half this done, So it's cool to have a finished model after like an hour that I'm like, all right, it's a cool looking pig.
Yeah. Yeah. So Relicblade has factions, but there aren't that many different models per faction. Like, I think there are only a grand total of 5 different pig sculpts in the entire game. And they're, each kind of unique characters, not named characters, but like unique archetypes of like classes. And so, you can actually make a lot of progress. Like, you could paint a faction in easily a weekend, probably a night if you were you were really hitting it hard.
Yeah.
And so it definitely can be pretty fast and rewarding. And I was telling you that I was trying to batch paint 12 different minis from Relicblade.
Right, yeah.
Plus like 3 spell effects, so 15. And I actually got the 3 spell effects and 7 of the minis complete. So
okay.
So those actually like got off the conveyor belt, off the assembly line, and I feel good about that.
All right. Yeah. Now you just gotta find somebody locally to play.
Dude, I did. My pal Alex.
You did?
Yeah. The
good old Alex.
My longtime friend who like actually was part of the crew that got me into mini games way back in the day. Like he was. Yeah, and I was telling him about it. I was showing him. I said the word draft, like maybe we could draft minis for my collection. And then he was in.
Yeah, no, that'll get a lot of people. Yeah. You'll be like, wait a minute, you can draft a team? Okay.
And now that's a nice thing about smaller skirmish games is that it is reasonable for you just to have enough figures for your friends to play too.
That's true.
Like in terms of roping somebody in to try a game, like board game players, just one of your friends needs to own the game. You know, it's not like both of you need to own the game and have painted your half most of the time. That's normally not how it works.
That's true. Yeah, generally depends on the board game.
But yeah, with skirmish games, like if I paint 8 Relicblade characters and I'm almost there, we can just left. Draft 4 each and get to it. And I've got I'll be ready. I mean, 1 left, right? Oh yeah.
Yeah, 1 left.
And I've got 4 half painted. We'll be ready. We'll be good.
Yeah. That's not bad. I mean, yeah, because last time you were saying they were in like a pretty half-finished state or whatever.
Yeah, that was...
So it's not bad.
It was just this nightmare of trying to batch paint 12 different things. And again, it was just
different things,
Pull a color out of my shelf and go through, and every place where green needs to be on the model, I did that. And then I get to a point where there's mostly base coated, and then it just started slowing way down after that, because then it's like, everything needed different kinds of highlights, and anyway. But and then just decision paralysis there of just trying to decide which mini to actually crank on to try to finish up first. But hey, we got through it. Live and learn. Batch painting different minis. I mean, not for everybody. Possibly not for me. Live and learn.
Possibly, really, you shouldn't do that at all. It's a terrible idea.
That's all right.
Like I think if you're batch painting like similar models like that obviously works, right?
Yeah.
But you start going, I don't know. You start going nuts and you're going to have a bad time. I should mention, though, that my pig has purple clothes, orange belt, and green hair.
Yeah. It could be cool.
It looks pretty cool.
Does it? Okay.
I just wanted to throw that out there because that's a weird combo that I've never painted before, and I'm feeling pretty good about it.
I mean, it could be very uncool too, but it could be cool. But I trust you. I trust you.
He's a giant pig man. It feels good. Yeah. So painting those. Obviously, you've been painting those. That's pretty good. Man, what else? I'm actually painting 2 Ragnar Blackmane models right now. Oh
yes.
Yeah. So I got off of eBay a few different models, and I showed these to Brent already, and I'm gonna have editor Matt put these up on the screen. YouTube.com/Paint Bravely the podcast. We do post pictures from time to time. We try to limit it a little bit, but it's a podcast after all. But these in particular are worth looking at. Potentially the worst models I've ever dealt with. But they are just the most jank looking models. Just, I don't know. I saw them and I immediately messaged the seller and I'm like, you need to tell me why. like you need to give me all the details. And unfortunately the dude was like, I don't have the details, but yeah, isn't this really cool? Like, this is a really cool model. So I don't know if it was one of those he just didn't want to say.
For those of you listening at home, Casey described them as the most jank looking models ever. The flavor you should be thinking of is think of the memes of like the melty face characters. Yeah. Like the my face when paint me like one of your miniatures. like the Space Marine that is so coated in paint that none of the details are there, but there's like a bad smiley face drawn on like where the the face should be. Yeah. And yeah, Casey found this eBay seller that has I mean he's clearly a reseller of like a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah. But one of the collections that he was parting out was like the same artist that did.
Oh, for sure. Like most of this stuff seems like it's from the same person, and he did tell me like he got it out of a big lot of stuff. Yeah, there was just a ton of these models in there. So somebody took their like whatever stuff they really didn't want anymore, or were just too embarrassed about, and they just tossed it. Yeah, and this also brought something else up a little bit that we'll get into.
We'll get to that. But not only are the models that you're buying from this guy all like obviously from the same artist. I'm saying like they're the same artist that did the melty face like meme picture, like the meme picture of like possible, the melty marine. This I mean, if anything, person. The one that I found could replace that meme. You have found that person. You have found their extended collection.
Oh no! Oh no!
The color choices are just perfect. They're bright. They're okay. So this person is painting bravely. To be fair.
Oh, for sure.
Like they're trying to draw like red hot flame transitions on the beaky the beaky armor. And then like they're putting glints in the lenses just real thick on in there. Like they got the lens colored in pretty well. And they just like ripped a brush stroke across the lens real fast to put a glint on there. And there's something so iconic and classic and terrible about it. I love it. I love it. It looks
So the question is really, do I need to rescue these models, or do I need to like memeify them in some way and like do an entire warband that just looks like this? Because I don't know where to go. I don't necessarily want to strip all the paint off, because I mean, especially the ones like it's a bunch of Space Marines and then a Ragnar Black Mane, right? But one of the Space Marines, the gun is like glued on backwards. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen, and it makes no sense. It's like they snipped off the hands and they just flipped it around, and they're like, "We just need more glue. Just gotta put more glue on this," and then they painted over it. So, like, I don't know if I want to ruin that terribleness, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
They really are incredible. So I was hanging out with my bud Alex today, and we were at Crossroad Games, and I actually pulled out my phone to show him the pictures that you had sent me of these meme Marines that you now own. And I was showing him the picture, and I got to the point where the gun was glued on backwards. And I just broke down laughing, and I like pulled something in my side. And I've been like walking strange all day. Like I laughed so hard.
It's even better. Oh, it's even better. This Marine was so bad it injured Goobertown Brent.
There's your title. You're welcome. But I'm mostly better now. But like just like there are little details on all of those figures that you bought that just, and Ragnar. I mean, Ragnar is like almost painted well, except they decided to give him like 1,000 red cuts across his face. And it's just like
1,000 cuts to just his face. It's weird because it looks so purposeful and it's not. I mean, these are the exact kinds of things. Like when I'm on eBay and I'm like, I have a YouTube channel that specializes in taking the worst models I've ever seen and just fixing them. This is like the epitome. This is the pinnacle of what that looks like. And it's so the pinnacle that I don't even know if I can bring myself to do it.
I don't know if you can either. I mean, I think you need to get like the best photography of these as you possibly can, and disseminate that so that these are never lost to history. But
I definitely have 4K footage of all of them.
Okay, good.
And it all looks crisp and nice, and I've checked and I've got backups.
Okay, good.
The Ragnar Blackmane is already, like, the footage I have of him is the only footage of that model now in existence that is him in that state.
Yeah.
I have since fixed that model.
Right.
And the other ones, though, I have not touched.
Yeah. Man, so this was going to start to go into that topic you wanted to get to, but the thing is, the reason I love these so much is because, okay, yeah, they're bad and it's funny to laugh at bad things, but on top of that is effort was obviously put into these.
Yes.
Like, there was a lot of love and a lot of hours put in. Like, there was an attempt at sweet color transitions on that armor. There were glints on the lenses, kind of. I think they were trying to do sweet scars on Ragnar's face. Like, I
think you're right. Well, because Ragnar has scars, and I think they were trying to get in there and be like, yeah, look at him, he's all cut up. He's like a werewolf. This is cool.
Like, all the details are painted in. Some of them are painted in with reasonable precision,
that is the weird thing, right? It feels confusing,
right?
Because the question is, are we making fun of a child? That's my fear, honestly. In most cases, like, I don't want to be like, this is the worst garbage I've ever seen, and a 6-year-old is crying. I'm like, no. I vet these things. I try.
We're talking about preserving this, and partially we're like, look how bad it is, but partially look how awesome this is. Look how friggin' awesome this is. We could not recreate this if we tried. Look at the colors. Look at the ideas that were tried to put in there. Look at the fact that this person glued the bolter gun on backwards. Like,
that one I do question a little bit more than the other one. Because, like, it's a very classic Marine.
Yeah.
Like a Ultramarine, where it's like, it's got there's no metal on it. It's like the yellow shoulder pad outlines and stuff. The trim is yellow, and like the bolter's red, that kind of thing. So it's like I almost want to find another of the same Marine and just like paint it how they thought it should be painted, like to the best of my ability. Like,
right? The more I think about it, do not strip those. Like, there's
no.
There's a power in the purity of that little collection that you have there.
The meme is strong with these models.
I lied. The part where I like broke myself today, like laughing so hard that I literally pulled something on my left side, it actually wasn't the Marines. It was actually something that you have not bought yet, but it was a Canadian trooper riding a Space Marine bike.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
just obviously they put some time into the conversion. It didn't totally work out. It looks ridiculous. The Space Marine bike is on a square base or a rectangle base.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, you gotta wonder, like, but I don't believe a child would do that. I don't think so. I mean, I started painting when I was like, I don't know, 11, 12, something like that, right? And like, my models are really not good, but like, they're not like this. So then you go like, okay, well, I have a 5-year-old and like his models kind of look like that, but like he has no coordination. You know, he's 5. So when he's painting stuff, it doesn't look like anything generally. It's slopped on. It's not like a base coat. These are like base coated and then things were tried. So then I really question, like, I don't know.
Again,
I just want to know how hard I can go at this. Like, how much can I make fun of this in a video?
I think you need to preserve it, because there is something awesome. There is a true power in that little collection, And I mean, you get bad minis all the time, or like incomplete minis all the time.
Yeah.
Somebody tried something and it didn't work out, but these are a complete vision. Like, they finished the mini. They got all the colors on there that they wanted to get on there. They clearly got some use out of it. And, I mean,
I hope so.
It reminds me of some of my friends' minis from middle school, early high school. Like the passion and the want
to be something, for it to be a thing.
Yeah. But yeah, with your channel, I mean, you do have to walk that line a lot of taking a mini that's painted and saying, this is not good enough. I am completely stripping off this paint job.
Right.
This paint job should no longer exist on the face of this earth. That's how you start basically all of your videos,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, it's funny. I think that I do a pretty poor job at explaining, like, that generally, in fact, in pretty much every case, when I'm taking paint off, it's because whoever put the paint on, like, either, maybe somebody just paintbrushed a 5-year-old let loose on this army, whatever. Like, obviously it's not good. Nobody tried. It wasn't like somebody felt really good about that. And you can tell, right? I've got plenty of models that my kid has painted, and it's like, hey, these are not, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
There's no emotion behind that. There are sometimes when it's like, okay, well, somebody maybe tried, but then they tried to strip the paint off already.
Yeah.
So I'm just finishing the job.
Yeah. No, a lot of yours, are somebody tried and then the model got beat around for 5 years, or somebody tried and then gave up halfway through, or that seems to be like a lot of what you get. So sometimes you get something that's like mostly done, the base coats or whatever, but it's flaking enough that there's not a ton to preserve there anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, like you got to reprime half of it or something, because whatever.
I mean sometimes you're like, okay, I see what they were going there for here. That's not bad. There's a little bit of inspiration into the bucket you go. But yeah, what we're talking about right now, we're laughing at, but we're also seriously considering preserving and buying more miniatures to try to
figure out this collection.
Try to make anything half as good.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. Like, if I tried to make a meme model, I couldn't do it.
Right.
Like, I couldn't. It would just be like, well, that's too specific.
Yeah.
No. This is too good.
But yeah, I mean that melty face marine meme is like, somebody put so much paint on that model that there's no details there anymore, and they still cared enough to try to draw on a face. Like, they were still invested enough. They were still showing that little buddy enough love to be like, okay, there is no recognizable eye socket on this mini anymore, but I'm pretty sure they go about here and let's say here. Yeah.
I gotta figure that out. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. So pretty happy about that. Definitely looking into this seller's stuff a little bit more. Because I got these for cheap. Like, I got these, like, a bunch of these Marines for like $6-7, I think, for a bunch of them. So I'm gonna try and snag some more and maybe do something with it fun, because I think it's really hard to find projects where a single Marine is like worthy of 20 minutes of a video. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Like, I all day long I can be like, well, this is $100 model and it's gigantic. Like, sure, I'll paint it, or do whatever. But a lowly old 2nd edition Space Marine, like, all right, feels like a good challenge.
Yep. So let's see what else here. I got some terrain ready. I put together some Aztec terrain, or Kazumi Temple terrain from Rampart Dungeons and Lasers, that Archon Studio, whatever they're called. So basically just like reasonably affordable plastic terrain kits. I spray painted them. I was gonna prime them red brown anyway, but Guerrilla Miniature Games put out a video recently about spray painting terrain, and they were talking about for your undercoat and top coat, use contrasting colors. So like I did red brown undercoat and kind of squirted some green on top for like moss, and then I put a little bit of like cool gray on top of that. And then hit it with a dry brush. I don't know, looks pretty good. Looks like old temple rocks that have been outside for a while. Maybe got some moss on it. Yeah, looking good.
It looks good. It does. I mean, I see you posting them pictures over on the Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's my Relicblade terrain.
Is it multi-level?
I made it so that it can be multi-level. Yeah.
Well, good. All right. Yeah. That's awesome.
I've got a whole little thesis on that. I don't know, the Relicblade. Yeah. All the terrain that I see in the pictures that Sean and other Relicblade folks are posting online is like, you got your negative space ground level kind of. You're on your playmat, and then there's a bunch of like plateaus and bridges, or platforms and bridges, whatever you want to call them. And so I built this Aztec ruin the same way. It built just a lot of like one-story buildings that I can then put some popsicle stick bridges between, and they're very playable. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Rope Alex in, see how it goes.
I mean, that sounds cool. Speaking of terrain, so I was on Facebook of all places, and somebody in my local gaming group was like, I've got all of this Warcry stuff. And they were pricing it out, and they're like, I don't care about it. I'm moving. I don't want it. I don't need it. And it's like a huge box of stuff. Like multiple boxes. I ended up putting it in one box. But I was like, basically, the dude was like, oh, $100, take it. Right? So immediately, like under a minute after he posted that, I was like, I will meet you.
I'll be there
with $100. Yes, I will be wherever you are. So I met him over at the comic book shop that I've featured several times in my videos. And I bought just an absolute nonsensical amount of terrain from this dude. And it's like the entire first box of Warcry stuff all put together, plus actually pretty much everything from that box. So already like doing pretty good. And then there's like some of the newer stuff, and then there's a Kill Team set, and then there's a bunch of like those the tree ones that they put out not that long ago, a couple years ago, but it's the entire set. So I got like 4 sets of terrain in this box, and $100. Feeling pretty good about that right now.
Facebook is good for something, and sometimes you get a little bit of luck. I'm happy for you, Casey, and I'm excited to see what you do with that. Yeah,
like I'm kind of thinking of, I mean, I know you're doing this like spray painting terrain thing, but I was kind of thinking like, well, maybe I could paint it all up in like a day, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because like I also need some good Relicblade terrain. Like I have a Warcry set already, like the first gen Warcry one, and that does work very well. It's a good modular setup with bridges and stairs and stuff. So, but some of these other ones are like, they're just different. So I might paint that stuff up and just make a whole video about it. I think that'd be fun because it's all like half painted.
And that should go pretty quickly. So I was surprised at how fast this whole terrain project went. I mean, it still took me a couple of days to put everything together and put some putty on things. I mean, it still was, 2 sessions of painting. 1 session of spray painting outside and 1 session of dry brushing inside. But terrain paints fast. Terrain paints real fast.
Yeah.
And
the Kill Team, the newest Kill Team box, I did in like, it had to have been 3 or 4 hours total for the whole box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same kind of method, just spray paint the crap out of it.
Yeah. again, Gorilla Miniature Games has a video about how to paint terrain fast with spray paint. It came out a week or two ago. Go look it up. Ash knows what he's doing.
Oh, it's new. Okay.
Yeah. So.
He does know what he's doing. Like, that dude paints terrain like the day before a game comes out,
mm-hmm.
and then features it like the day it comes out. And yeah, he probably only got that box like two days before. So yeah, dude knows how to paint pretty quick.
Absolutely. But even if you aren't that blessed, really some spray paint in a couple of different colors, then a dry brush, and it looked pretty good. Looking pretty good.
Yeah.
So definitely spray paint bravely on that one.
Spray paint bravely. Man, I swear, every single time that we do this podcast, we come up with another shirt idea. It makes me happy every time. Spray paint bravely. That's just so good. Anyways, just as a side note, because we are talking about Relicblade, the other day I found out that if you have Tabletop Simulator on your computer, which a lot of people play Warhammer with, and Conquest, by the way, which is also on there, that I haven't told Brent yet, because it is, but Relicblade officially is on Tabletop Simulator, and it looks 100% absolutely legit. Like, it is all the art, all the cards, all the rules, and it's official from Sean. It is pretty incredible. I actually spent like 2 hours, no, maybe not 2 hours, like an hour last night just in VR messing around with like the models and the cards like in stupid Tabletop Simulator by myself.
Were you actually in VR?
I was,
okay.
Yeah. It was awesome. It sounds ridiculous,
cool.
But it was like midnight and I'm just like, ooh, a pig man, like lifting it up, literally, yeah, seeing if it works. But it's pretty legit. I want to play. I want to get some games in that way. I think that might be a good way to do it, since I don't know how many I'm gonna get in town.
One of these days, I'm definitely gonna make a Relicblade video, and it's going to seem like a sponsored ad video, and nobody's gonna watch it because it's just gonna be, I am so excited for Relicblade, and nobody's gonna watch it because they're gonna think it's a sponsored ad video. But like, I literally don't know how else to frame the video. This is a game that I've read the rulebook for voluntarily because I wanted to read the rulebook for it. It is a game where I've recruited a local friend to play with me.
Right.
Where I've painted all the minis. I've painted terrain specifically for the game.
Uh-huh. And you bought a board, right?
Yeah.
But like an actual 2x2
Yeah, I bought a playmat, a 2x2 playmat.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big step.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't know how I can put all this in a title and thumbnail to get across the idea that, like, I'm actually interested in Relicblade. And yeah.
I mean, yeah. I think you'd have to go like some kind of like mind-numbing clickbait, like
Games Workshop could never do this. Like,
yeah, exactly. Some really like
Games
Warhammer
Workshop
will never
hate him, and then just a picture of Sean.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually. That's really good.
Dumb mustache. Yeah.
It's so mean. Oh.
But the thing is, I like the idea of there being something in the search results for Relicblade, and so I kind of want to tone down the clickbait on that one. I want it to just be like, Relicblade seems cool.
Well, okay, how about this?
Learn about
you compromise. Compromise on that. You put the video out as hardcore clickbait.
For 2 days.
And you get all the people who just, exactly, for 2 days. You just let all the stuff come on in, and then you go, okay, it's been 48 hours, changing the title, I'm changing the thumbnail, and then I'm going to delete every cuck comment from this entire thing right now.
Right.
And it won't matter. It'll just look like, man, like this video did so good.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, that's the way you do that. You turn it around.
Games Workshop hate
after
him.
a couple
It's just
days.
a zoom in on Sean Sutter's stupid mustache, just the entire thumbnail.
It's
like,
nose to mouth, right?
maybe like a pig man coming out of the side. I don't know, like just
like at the
superimpose a
top,
pig man
right,
on
of
the
one
top
side.
left.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like I want to be there for this.
Yeah,
Like,
this
we
is
need
inside
to do
baseball
this.
here. This is how it's done. This is
Yeah, this is exactly.
Right.
This is high level, big brain thinking.
big brain. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
Uh,
But yeah, Relicblade, right?
so I actually played a game of 40K this weekend.
Right.
My local friends have been, I don't know, for whatever reason they're back into it. They're playing again. They wanted to do kind of like a little escalation league. So 4 of us
That's
each
cool.
got 500 points together, and we played a game. And so I was Dark Eldar, of course. I played on the team.
You're like,
with,
guys, it's been 20 years. I'm just gonna pull the same thing I already have out.
I actually painted new ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mostly. I didn't finish them, so I like blue stuffed on some unpainted heads from 3rd edition as penance.
Right.
Yeah. Sweet hair all
man.
blown back for the entire squad.
Yeah.
It's real good.
See, that's the real Dark Eldars. You take the new good sculpts and you just replace the head with like the old ones, the pewter ones, right?
Well, they're plastic. The plastic kit had
I know those ones are the old
plastic
ones.
kit had 4 helmeted heads and 2 unhelmeted heads. And the bare heads, one is a ponytail and one is just the hair completely slicked back and like flying behind it.
He's like the guy in the front of the barge. He's just
Yeah,
like
exactly,
at the front,
exactly.
Titanic.
And it is one of the stupidest heads I've ever seen. But now I'm tempted to at least have a couple of those heads floating around the army somewhere.
Yeah, I think you should.
But yeah, so we played a game. It was 500 Dark Eldar, 500 Harlequins points of, against 500 points of Orcs and 500 points of Skitarii. And
Okay.
the Eldars lost, but the Harlequins killed a fair bit of stuff in close combat. Like one squad of Harlequins got into close combat and killed a lot of stuff. And I don't know, it was
That makes sense.
fun to see some people and fun to, put some models out on the board, fun to see the terrain. The game itself is pretty mediocre, but that's not the point of it.
It is kind of not the best. I don't know. I think unless you're playing at like a really high level and it's the minutia of each movement and half an inch or whatever, like I don't know that it's different enough every time to, I don't know, like it's fine. I enjoy it, but I don't know, taking it down to a smaller level, like a 500 point game feels a little bit quicker. Kill Team even quicker than that,
Sure.
Faster pace, right? Like it makes more sense to me, but it's cool that you got a game in though. Like
we're talking
been a
about
while.
doing an escalation league, so we're talking about a 750 point game, and we'll see how far it goes. Maybe we're done.
So you
I don't know.
you add one barge to your just battle line of 80 guys.
Yep.
Just one barge every week until you get 6 barges. That's how you play.
Yep. So I'm painting some stuff, and if the models turn out like if the army ends up looking good, we actually go through with it. Maybe I'll make a video at the end, but no guarantees. No
guarantees.
See how that goes.
But you should be documenting this. Just
I am. I'm getting footage just in case. I got my overhead eyes in the sky camera hooked up again.
Ooh, all right.
Actually got some pretty good time lapses of putting together the Aztec terrain. Got some decent time lapses of painting some Dark Eldar. So seems cool. All right. But I don't know. That might be all that's new with me. It's actually been a busy couple of weeks. Like I've gotten a lot of hobby in the past couple of weeks, and so normally we do these rundowns. We get about an hour in. I don't know if you've got anything else that you've been up to you want to talk about.
I mean, I guess not. Like I pulled out all my Warcry stuff again, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna actually figure something out. I'm gonna force somebody to play. Yeah. So yeah, like I got the models out. I got everything set up. It looks good. I took some pictures with some models and actually some Relicblade models on the terrain and stuff, and that's about as far as I've gotten. So, you know, luckily though, I did move it to like a card table, a folding card table, so it's kind of off to the side, and I think I'm just gonna leave it set up because, like, I always find that just leaving something out, I'm more likely to actually engage with that thing. Like if I put it back in the box, man, like, I don't know, it might not come back out for a while, and I don't really want to do that. I want to actually like get caught up and have some fun. I don't know. It's summertime. It's getting warm. I want to go out and do stuff. I want to play some games.
Yeah, that's the spirit.
Yeah.
That's the spirit. Feel it there.
I do feel it. Like, I will play a game of 40K. Like, probably in the next couple weeks. That's, I think, the plan.
Hey, every couple of years, whether you need to or not, just yeah.
It just happens, yeah. It's true. Like, maybe for my birthday this year, I'll just force it. Be like, all right, this is, everybody coming over is bringing models, or I've got models for you. This is what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Show up or don't. Yeah. That'll be a thing. I'll do that. That's not for a long time though.
So you want to keep dragging this segment out? I bought some Mormont bears. You get some Mormont she bears. Really? Yeah, I got some Mormont she bears right here.
Some Mormont.
Mormont.
Oh, Mormont.
Yeah, like Song of Ice and Fire.
Yes. Okay. I mean, that seems like a thing you should have brought up before.
Nah, it's
what's that?
It's too late.
No, it's not too late. I need to ask you a very serious and important question about those Mormonts. How would you rate that sprue?
It's not a sprue.
Oh yeah,
these are pre-assembled together, minis, and that's the way the CMON does things. And
see,
it's actually pretty cool the way that the minis fit into their little plastic packaging. Like the plastic packaging is the transportation system for these minis, basically.
Right.
Because they basically fit perfectly into those little pockets in the. Yeah.
You don't even have to paint them.
So you don't have to assemble them. They come right in their packaging. There's a nice little 4x3 tray, unit movement tray that came with these. And I don't know. Seems like it might be kind of cool. Can you draft a Song of Ice and Fire? That's the question. No, it's rank and flank. I think you need a whole lot of these buddies whole lot of Mormont she-bears if you want to have a game.
I mean, good on you for going with the Mormonts, though. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a popular option, if you know what I mean.
There wasn't a ton of selection today. So the way this game works is that you have, kind of generic units, but you can also buy hero boxes. And so, like, Stark Heroes has Eddard and whatever. Eddard.
Yes.
Jon Snow. I don't know. It has all the heroes, but all the hero boxes that they had in stock were Heroes 2. So for each house, they have, like, Heroes 1, which is all the main characters, and then Heroes 2. And so, like, for the Stark house, Heroes 2 is Arya is the most well-known character in Heroes 2. Arya, Rickon, and like Mira Reed, Jojen Reed, and Osha, the wildling. Which they're fine characters, but if they had Stark's 1 in stock, that's where you're getting your Eddard, your Jon Snowses,
and your Robs.
Probably Sansa's in there, which Sansa's probably the least cool. Well,
I mean,
least combat cool character in that box.
Right, yeah. But no Hodor at all? No?
I bet Hodor's in 1. Hodor's got to be in 1.
I mean, Stark, if he is, I feel like I might buy that now.
And Stark 2 is like, well, here's Jojen Reed. Yeah.
I guess you get Arya. It's fun.
Yeah, Arya's fine, but if Arya's your highlight, if you're not going,
well, that's the backbone of that box. Like if she was in there, nobody'd be buying that box.
I mean, Jojen Reed, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Don't forget. Can't forget them.
Don't forget that. Yeah.
Should have put the Hodor in there and whatever. I didn't even play this game. I didn't even know that they were pre-assembled.
Look, you know, I'm basing everything I know off of looking at the back of the boxes, what boxes they did have in stock, and also a close inspection of Mormon she-bears. But
I mean, that does sound cool though. But you know,
I know Scott, the miniature maniac. He likes this game. He likes A Song of Ice and Fire, and it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad at all. The models I think are PVC, but they're assembled in like a couple of parts by the factory worker, and there were definitely some gaps in there, but not the worst. Yeah. Not the best, not the worst. Seems all right.
It's not bad. That's not bad. All right. Well, yeah, we don't want to drag that out too much.
No, we don't want to drag that out too much.
No, don't want to do that.
I bought some crackle paste today.
Oh man, I just got crackle paste in the mail. I did. It's right behind me. Look.
Oh, man,
what's yours?
I'm glad we kept this going. Otherwise, we wouldn't have both bought crackle paste. Yeah.
Or just randomly had it. Like, who the hell just randomly is like, hey, check out this tub of crackle paste I have.
I got this crackle paste. Guess what? I got golden crackle paste.
Oh, I got Viva Art Line.
Pate à craquelure. Pasta craqueladora.
Small.
I like pasta craqueladora. That's my favorite.
This is Facettenlock Smalto per Sfacacciature.
Medio blanco opaco que craquela al secado.
I got black.
Oh, I got white. Black is a better color for crackle paste. They didn't have that option at Michael's today, but.
Oh yeah. No, they don't. Oh, did you got the golden one? You said
I got the golden one. I think it's white. Man. The bottle's white.
You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful with that golden.
Does it
stuff,
not work?
Though. I could not make it work.
Okay, I'm gonna try it.
I don't know if I just got a bad batch or something. Like, I put it on models and I was like, man, I'm so happy I got this giant tub. And it's like you can see the picture is like it looks like it should work, right? But it's kind of like this marshmallow fluff.
Okay.
That's the actual texture of the paste that you have there, the golden paste. And like you put it on and it literally just looks like marshmallow. And like it just dried that way. It didn't actually crackle at all. It didn't do anything. And I put it on like thick, thinking like, you know, that's the rule, right? You put crackle paint on thicker so you get bigger cracks. That is not the case. And I had I put these on like dark Eldar racks, right? So it was these gnarly racks that I had put together, and they're just like standing in a puddle of marshmallow. It was like, this didn't work at all. I even did like really nice, like underneath the crackle paint was supposed to be like this nice green glowing gradient because I did this like underlighting. Yeah. I had to change my entire concept because that stuff did not crackle. It didn't even work.
So did you mix the crackle paste with a paint? Did you mix it with an ink or a paint or anything? No.
Didn't mix it with anything.
You were going to paint over the white or whatever.
Yeah, I was going to like dry brush it or whatever. Which is why I ended up getting this black stuff, right? Because it's like, okay, well, if I do the same thing, I don't have to dry brush it. And I want lava bases. Like, this is pre-done lava bases as long as your base is like orange underneath. Good to go. So I'm hoping that'll work out because I think that is... like I've seen it done. It's doable to do the crackle lava base thing by hand, and I've seen it done very well. But like this feels like it saves a couple steps. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it works, because
I'll be very interested to see how that black stuff goes. And again, it's like Jeremy Blackmagic Craft mixes black paint with his Mod Podge, because when things start to chip, it's showing black instead of showing white. And
it's a good call.
White really shines through under things, especially if there's a little bit of damage. So
yeah, for sure.
Just avoid that entirely.
Good call. Yeah. Well then, now that we definitely don't have anything else that we were planning on talking about in that section.
Well, on that note, thank you so much for listening to... You're the one who normally does the outros.
Yeah, it's true. Although I think you've stolen it from me several times.
I only know well on that note, and then you normally pick up from there.
It's a good point. But I mean, we do have more things to talk about.
We could.
I thought we were.
Okay, do it.
All right. So technically we have a main topic for this episode. Now I just did a video last week that was going over like some of the hang-ups that we have as miniature painters when it comes to painting like larger or more expensive models, or, you know, rare models, or whatever the case is. And it really resonated with a lot of people that watched it. I imagine if you're listening to this, you may have watched it. I think there are a lot of people that listen to this podcast that probably didn't. So I thought it would be kind of nice to go through some of those things, because it seemed to, like I said, resonate with people, and you know, it could help. Could just shed some light on. Now, obviously, we're not like psychologists. We don't know pretty much about any of that stuff, but, you know, we're internet psychologists, so to speak.
We are.
It's like, as much as we are pro painters.
We are. No, I took Psychology 101 in college, and very few people keep going with that track. Actually, I mean, it's a reasonably doable major. Some people just kept going with that track because psychology was the easiest major they could do to then go to med school. But
that's good. It's fair.
Actually, it was a pretty common track, but
that was good. Yeah.
But I took Psychology 101, and yeah, it's one of those topics that it affects us all. It's something that's accessible to an amateur. It's fun to learn about, fun to talk about, and so you wanted to talk about cognitive distortion.
Correct.
Which is...
Yes, I did.
Yeah, a framework for thinking, for understanding some of the bad habits that our minds can get into. And again, this is part of like a theory in psychology that some serious people use to try to treat serious problems like anxiety, depression, all kinds of stuff that people actually struggle with. So... the framework here is normally applied to more serious stuff, but we as complete amateurs are going to lightly talk about how some of these concepts in psychology might affect us as mini painters, and we'll have a little chat about it, see if we learn anything.
I think you'll understand what we mean as we get into this, but do you want to start with one, or do you want me to start with one?
Go for it.
Because we got a few each. I'm scrolling to where I wrote them down.
What's your favorite one?
My favorite one. Ooh.
So this reminded me of absolutely like a psychology textbook. It's like types of cognitive distortion, and there's like 10 different named types. I was going through them. I was like, oh man, if I was 19 years old, I'd be making flashcards for these, and like,
oh my god, yeah, I know.
Like
right?
this is definitely on a test
these
for psychology, maybe like 102. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. This seems whatever. So one that I really like that really falls into the hobby category is called emotional reasoning, where you rely on gut feelings over objective evidence to judge yourself and, you know, things around you. So essentially, while you're painting something, you get halfway through, and this happens on pretty much every model, is it just doesn't look very good. It's like, yeah, because you're halfway through. We call it the ugly phase. People call it the ugly duckling phase, whatever. It's kind of the same thing. You're not done with your model, so it doesn't look very good, and so you start to kind of tell yourself, like, maybe you're just not very good. Like, your feeling about whatever this is now informing the way that you feel about all of miniature painting and how you are, and if you're good or bad or whatever, and you tend not to finish those models. Well, it's just like a pretty common thing that we all go through, and it's can be difficult to get past.
Yeah, your brain turns that feeling into a fact, and
right.
You feel like your model looks bad, and then it's a fact in your brain that you're bad at painting models, and that ugly face, right. That's a real mud trap right there.
Yeah, it definitely stops a lot of people from continuing in the hobby, I think. Like, you know, there's a few models that you get through it and you're like, well, that doesn't feel good. And then you do it a few more times. And like, honestly, the remedy is painting more models, right? Like the more often that you run into that issue, getting to the ugly phase and then recognizing that that's what it actually is, you can start to make decisions to get beyond that. Right? You can go, okay, well, I know that this is not good because that's where I'm at in the process. And then you just keep painting. You put the next layer of paint on, you keep going, the next highlight, the next whatever. And all of a sudden, oh man, my model doesn't look half bad. Like, yeah, but you do have to kind of tell yourself, like, it's not going to be this way forever.
Yeah. You need to confront the facts that as they appear in your brain with the actual facts. We're telling you that every model has an ugly phase, and that'll be normal. That'll be normal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I like that one. Just in general.
All right.
Good.
I pulled one up here as black and white or polarized thinking. Now, when I was reading about this on Wikipedia, as I would do if I was a student in psychology class,
right.
The example they had is you're on a diet and you go and your diet's going well, and then you eat a spoonful of ice cream, and it's black and white. The diet is either going well or you have failed. You're a failure. You're off the diet and you're eating the rest of the ice cream.
You might as well at that point, right? Like, you've had one spoonful, you might as well eat all of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I understand. So that's this black and white thinking. And in miniature painting, I mean, we've talked about the hobby streak before, or we've talked about setting yourself up. Just put paint on your brush every day. Just do that. And yeah, gotta make sure you're on that hobby streak. Do something so that you don't fall off on day 3 of hobby streak, you know? And in some ways that sets you up for failure, or for once you fall off, that there's no half measure. You're either on or off. And I think in some ways that it is very easy to fall off of what we set out for ourselves to do. And so, I mean, the hobby streak is just the most obvious black and white binary sort of thing. But it goes for any project where you envision something in your brain. Oh man, this is going to be great. I'm going to get 10 snotling pump wagons, and I'm going to make an armies on display board for my snotling pump wagons. I'm going to lay it all out. It's going to be great. And then something comes up, some setback happens, and it's very easy to go from this is my plan, my vision, this is how it's going to go, it's going to be great, to this isn't working, and then very suddenly it's not working, this project is not working, this project's a failure, and then just black and white. And if it does start to go gray and that just flips to this project is not going to happen, this project has failed, put it back in the pile.
Yeah.
Sell it to somebody on Facebook for $100. Yeah. See what I can get for
right,
it.
Exactly. You bust the gun off your Space Marine and glue it on the wrong way, like, guess it's over.
Very or, black and white. You either glue all your bolts guns on the correct way, or you glue one on the wrong way, and it's all ruined. Yeah.
I mean, look, like that straight up example though, like if you had 100 Space Marines and one of them was backwards, you'd be like, this entire project is just not good. This is ruined. Like, that one guy has his gun backwards. These are not uniform anymore. Like, that would bother the crap out of me. Like, yes, if that's the way they are. But obviously that's not the case, right? If you painted 100 Space Marines and like you messed one of them up, like, you're fine. It's okay.
I'm not sure what part of cognitive distortion this is, but man, if I was like in the zone and scraping mold lines and gluing, and I got to the end and I realized that I glued the bolter on the wrong way, I don't often throw things across the room, but that might be a situation.
Right.
Like,
so you ask what cognitive distortion this falls under, and this is exactly where I'm going next. It's
rage.
Discounting the positive. Yeah, rage. Discounting the positive. Like when things go right, and then you just don't give yourself credit at all. Right? Like something good happens. You painted 100 Space Marines, but one of them has a bolter that's backwards, and it's ruined? Like, why?
Because
why would that literally be the
because
case?
You're bad, Casey.
No, we're trying to get past these.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was just trying to be your inner monologue. It's because you're bad.
It's you're bad. Don't worry about that. Yeah. I liken this kind of to like internet feedback,
Sure.
right? Like especially, at least in my experience, like YouTube internet feedback and whatever. If you post on groups and stuff, like you get 99 good comments, or let's just say you get 9 really good comments. This is really cool. Like, you did a good job. I really like this and this. And then there's that one a-hole that's just like, you're crap at painting. Like, this is not good. And that's the one you hang on to. The 1 out of 10. Like, you're just completely discounting the fact that you actually did something that a lot of people really liked.
Mm-hmm.
Because one person didn't like it, or who knows what their issue is. It's their issue. So why would you discount the positivity that you're being shown?
100%.
I think a lot of us do that.
100%.
A lot of us do that.
Yep.
Yeah. So just because that bolter is on backwards, don't beat yourself up. It's all right.
Agreed. All right. I've got another one here.
Sweet.
Jumping to conclusions. Fortune telling.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
All right. So this is when you're looking at how something is going, and you're extrapolating out to where you think it's going to go, and that affects where it actually goes, like kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy sort of thing.
Right, yeah.
So this is, you're painting something, it looks bad, you're like, oh man, this is gonna look bad. It's gonna look bad. What am I even doing? Why even bother? What's the point? Like, this is, and so this is very much the, I don't know. It's just getting frustrated. It's convincing yourself that you are headed for failure, and because you're pretty sure that you're headed for failure, you fail. The model, you stop putting in the effort, for example, because you expect failure. Because you are jumping to the wrong conclusion that you're headed for failure. Yeah. Right. Very demoralizing, but very easy to do. Very easy to do. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's one of those things where if you start something and then you like make a mistake, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm just going to keep making these mistakes. And like, maybe you do. Maybe you just keep making a mistake, or something happens, or you paint on the wrong part or whatever. Like, it's easy to just think that that's going to continue to happen, and you're not going to follow through on whatever you're doing.
Right.
Like, you just assume that's going to keep happening. Like, you're telling yourself it's going to, and it's like, I'm sorry, you literally can't see the future. You have no idea. Yeah. Like, just calm down for a second, take a breath, take a step back from the model, figure out what's going on, and, regroup, try again. Like, today, I was sitting down, and I had like my Pro Acryl bottles to the right of me, and I'm right-handed, right? So I'm like getting paint out of my my wet palette and whatever, reaching across to get water off my brush, and I kept poking myself with the tip of the Pro Acryl paint on my arm as I'd put the brush in the water. And I had paint all up and down my arm, like little dots of Pro Acryl tips, right? Because the paint stays on the ends of those things. And like, I got paint on my model, but it just kept happening. And it kept happening. I'm just like, why does this keep happening? It was the stupidest thing. Like, I had to seriously take a minute and be like, all of this Pro Acryl needs to move. Like, I had to move all these bottles. It was stupid.
I don't know if that's related to the psychological concept that we're talking about, but that's messed up, Casey. Okay.
I mean, a little bit. It was like, I kind of had this thought, like, well, I keep doing this not only just dipping my arm or whatever it is in paint but like, I'm getting it on the model. I'm going to get it on I'm going to ruin this. I'm going to do these things. And like, I kept thinking that way until I was like, no. This is stupid. Like, that is not true. Well, I swear it's what it felt like. I just kept doing it. But in general, like, I thought I was going to ruin the model, and I had to stop and like rearrange my situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it like 6 times. Okay. Like, I had like 6 dots of different colors on my arm.
Yeah.
It was stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, so all this stuff, again, is used by serious people to attempt to diagnose and treat, serious, mental, I guess disorders is the right word, disordered thinking.
Sure.
And so some people out there probably know these concepts far, far better than we do. And again,
for sure.
we don't mean to make light of them, but what an important part of therapy is understanding why you feel the way that you do, why the brain is going down the paths that it's taking. And so sometimes if you are just having a bad hobby streak, or you're feeling out of sorts as you're painting, or you're getting frustrated a lot, or you feel like you're always headed for failure, or that your minis are always terrible, or that you're always terrible because of how terrible your minis are, maybe stop to think. And again, it can be really powerful to just try to identify why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, and maybe that can help you walk that back a little bit and get on the right path.
Yeah. And I mean, as much as like, you're saying these are psychologist tools or whatever the case is, I think that they're becoming more popularized as far as like just things that we tell ourselves, just in your head, things that you're telling yourself that's not true. Like, because we're always getting down on ourselves generally, it's what people do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh man, like I should have done all these things. I should have done this, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, how many times in your life you've been like, I should have done this? And it's like, so you can't take a time machine. Like, you should have, maybe, but you can't change that, right? I don't know. It's things that we do, and these are just like good kind of definitions for some of those things, and they definitely apply to miniature painting. So I thought it was kind of fascinating, and it just made sense. It seems that some people got some use out of it, and yeah, hopefully you did too.
Yeah. Do it. Well, on that note.
Oh, yeah. Thank you again for joining us on another episode of Paint Bravely. If you enjoyed this podcast, please help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and sharing this message with your hobby friends. And as always, we appreciate each and every one of you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.